Hey all, it's Yashwant and today's video is going to be all about the most selling hydration all across the world, and that is Coca-Cola, which is basically what we call as Coke. Yeah, Coke or Coca-Cola. But how could they make almost $4.6 billion every year? Yeah, you heard me right. $4.6 billion every year as a profit. But what they actually sell is basically sugar water, which is basically 56 grams of sugar in just 750 ml of Coke. Yeah, but how could they actually make almost this $4.6 billion profit by just selling sugar water? And the only means they could do this is basically through their marketing strategy. So without any further ado, let's get started by seeing what marketing strategy have they used. The marketing strategy which Coke uses is basically known as the best marketing strategy ever seen by mankind. Yeah guys, it's right. First of all, let's see how do Coke has been registered in the Indian minds. No, in the minds across the world. How do people think about Coke? Most of the people across the world see Coke not only as a hydration, it is a feeling for most of them. Yeah, how could just a hydration brand can make such a huge impact in the minds of people? How is that possible? That was tested by a very famous scientist. So, what was that test? It was basically of 3 rounds. First of all, in the first round, uh, the scientists wanted to see what's the basic difference between Coke and Pepsi. Yeah, guys, this is the time for the villain. Coke just sells sugar water, but they make $4.6 billion out of it, and this hydration field has a lot of rivals, and Coke is the best rival of Pepsi. So, what is the basic difference of Coke and Pepsi? What is it? Just like how we all are puzzled, even that scientist was puzzled as well. So he wanted to put that out of test. He called 4 to 5 people and he had 3 rounds of tests as I mentioned before. First of all, in the first round, he took 2 glasses. He put Coke in a glass and a Pepsi in another glass. He did not mention which was Coke and which was Pepsi. It was just transparent glasses. Okay, you cannot see the difference visually by just looking at Coke, and you can't actually mention which is Coke and which is Pepsi. You can't do that. And even when you taste, most of us cannot know what's the difference between Coke and Pepsi. That's what happened when it came to all those people who tasted it. They did not know which was Coke and which was Pepsi. And this scientist was smart enough to check the feeling when the people drink Coke and Pepsi. He wanted to know what is the difference. So if he used a brain sensor to sense what impact happens in the brain when you drink Coke or Pepsi. So first of all, in the first round when both of them drank Coke and Pepsi, they couldn't find which was Coke and which was Pepsi. They just saw both of them are just random hydration drinks. So there was no change in the brain. No, no sense in the brain. We all know that sugar is happiness. Sugar is equal to happiness. In scientific terms as well, sugars are pounds of happiness. So basically, when they add a lot of sugar, there's a sense of happiness in the brain when you drink Coke. You just have a kind of a nice feeling when you can drink Coke or Pepsi. So basically, in the second test, they had Coke and Pepsi as well, but they had labels in it. They knew which was Coke and which was Pepsi. So basically, when all those people tried to taste both of them, when he drank Pepsi, there was no change. But when he drank Coke, there was a big change in his brain. There was a spike of happiness in his brain. It might be bad for health, but it gives a sudden spike of happiness to you and a sudden spike of hydration and refreshment with you. This is where Coke scores, and this is where Coke outstands better than Pepsi. This is the marketing strategy. And next, he had Coke and Pepsi both labeled as usual. But what he did is that he took two glasses, he poured Coke into the glass, but used a Pepsi label. And he poured Pepsi in a glass and used the Coke label. He basically interchanged both. When the people drank the Coke inside the Pepsi glass, there was no change. So basically, when they drink Coke, what happened to that spike of happiness? What is it? But when they drank Pepsi, which had Coke, they had that spike of happiness. Yeah. So what basically gives them that spike of feeling in their brain? Not the drink or not the person's perspective. It was basically the shiny red colored label. That is the brand, and that is where Coke outstands. So basically, what are perceived value and tangible value? Perceived value is just the appearance and the surroundings about that place, and the tangible value is the worth of that particular product. So basically, let's have an example. You go to a restaurant. The restaurant is a very hi-fi restaurant. It has a very nice ambience. It has very nice quality, and there are outstanding waiters there. They treat you like kings. They have a lot of a very nice experience. But what if they serve you rotten chicken in there? It's not like you go to the best restaurant in the world, but when you eat a rotten chicken in there, it does not give you the whole feeling of that best restaurant in the world. And basically, when you're served with the best food in the world, but in a place which is like totally noisy, maybe like totally a disgusting place with dead cockroaches all over, mosquitoes, flies, insects, everything, which has a rotten smell over it. But when you're served with the best food in that place, it does not give you that feeling. This is where a product to be shined must have the perceived value and tangible value. Both of them should be concentrated for a product to shine. And this is where Coke shines. Coke, this is the marketing strategy of Coke. We talked about the marketing strategy of Coke around the world, but what happens when Coke is introduced in India? India is a place which has unity in diversity. Each state is different from each other. Each state has a different culture, different, a different, maybe everything is different from a state to another state. Maybe the food, the restaurants, the places, maybe the place you stay, the food you have, and the culture which is being followed in that place. Everything changes from one place to another when it comes to India. So India was a very complex country which was very diversified. So what did Coke do? The thing which Coke did was like basically all Indians were diversified, but one thing all Indians united was cricket. Yeah, when it comes to cricket, all people are like Sachin, Sachin. Yeah, right. So what Coke did, they were so smart. Upon their analysis, they took Sachin Tendulkar. As their brand ambassador, and they had a very stunning ads. So basically, good brands try to sell their products, but when it comes to legendary brands, they try to sell the. But when it comes to legendary brands, they try to attract the emotion of people. There lies Coke. The Coke, when you look at the Cokes, like the advertisement of Coke, That basically shows that this gives us a whole story which carries a lot of emotion about about cricket and everything about the Indian culture. In the last 3 to 4 seconds, they just talk about Coke. They wanna get into the people's emotion rather than selling their product for the whole 30 seconds. They would just wanna carry out a beautiful story, and a beautiful story which contains all the emotion of people for the first 25 seconds, and after that in the last 5 seconds they talk about their product, and that is where Coke stands. And this is why Coke outshines in India, and this is only why Coke could make $4.6 billion just profit every year. Yeah, every year. This is the reason. But guys, Coke is unhealthy. As I mentioned, 56 grams of sugar every time you drink a Coke bottle is unhealthy. But still, you should applaud Coke for their business and marketing skills. So, if you want to look at a lot of marketing videos like this, stay tuned and subscribe to Daily Talk. Bye. See you later.